Hello there, my name is Valerie White Williams and I'm a voice teacher and a vocal coach for Vocal Splendor Studios. Today I'm doing another reaction video, and this time I'm reacting to the viral video that got me clients in 2011. This is How Do You Sing from the Diaphragm? Breathing for Singers, Vocal Myths Exposed. So I'm really excited to react to this, but before I get into it, make sure you subscribe and click on the bell so you can get notified of all of my uploads. So let's have a listen.
Hi, beautiful singers. This is Valerie White Williams with Vocal Splendor Studios, and I am back to talk about another vocal myth.
This is so funny. Actually, I used to say that with every video. Hello, beautiful singers. And I got that from one of my teachers, Bill Eddy. He was 92 years old, and he'd always call singers beautiful singers. Not that they're like beautiful or sexy or anything, but gorgeous singer. So I used to use that. And yes, I was trying to be edgy. Vocal myths exposed.
Today's myth isn't exactly a myth, but it is something that a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about. And today's topic is, how do I sing from the diaphragm? The diaphragm is something a lot of singers talk about. Most people here in choir sing from the diaphragm, speak from the diaphragm, use your diaphragm. But I found in my years of teaching that very few people really know what the diaphragm is. It's something that is talked about, but no one really knows what it is. No one's really seen it. I kind of like to think of the diaphragm as like a unicorn. We've heard about it, but what is it?
You know, it's so funny. Yeah, the audio isn't that great. I didn't really have a good camera. I just had my laptop, which wasn't that great. And I used an IKEA light to put on my face because this is way before all these things were available. And luckily I had a white thing behind me as a wall in my house. And yeah, and now there's all kinds of videos with, a lot of fiber optics and animation, so you can understand what the diaphragm is. But let's keep going.
Here's the deal about the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a breathing muscle, and it's a muscle that sits at the base of our rib cage. So I invite you to go ahead and fill where your rib cage is. Mine comes down really far. It comes up here, comes all the way down like that. Okay, the diaphragm sits inside that rib cage, kind of like this. I like to think of it as like a trampoline. You know how trampoline has those rings and it's all attached around the trampoline and it moves up and down? It's kind of like what our diaphragm is, except it's all around our rib cage. It goes all the way around the front and the back, and it sits like this, like my hands are like this. Now when we take that big breath, this is what it does. It goes like this. It contracts and makes our ribs stick out, and then when we breathe out, it typically does this. It releases, and the diaphragm goes from here to this.
Yeah, so actually that's a really great analogy to show with the hands. And the thing about the diaphragm is that we don't have nerve endings in it. We don't. It's kind of like the wind is what I say. You can see the trees move, but you can't see the wind. And so using those rib cage expansion, it really helps people understand how it works.
The concept of breathing in the belly, our breath does not go in the belly, but everything that it pushes down goes in the belly. So learning to control or be aware of the diaphragm is one of the most important things that singers need to do.
Okay, so here's the thing. Be aware of the diaphragm. That is not something I would say today, because the diaphragm, you can't really be aware of it because it doesn't have any nerve endings. That's the thing. You just really have to realize how to take this nice deep breath in the ribs. And with the belly breathing, I never use that terminology, but I've had people come into my studio, mostly guys, and then they just make a Santa Claus belly. They put their guts in their stomach. There is no air sacs in the stomach. So it's really letting the ribs do the job. But so far so good. I agree with this video.
Now, I use the word control, and that's not really quite how the diaphragm works, because the problem with the diaphragm is it completely within our body. We can't consciously control it, and we really can't feel it move. But what we can feel is the results of the diaphragm contracting. We feel that when we inhale, and we feel it release. Putting your hands on the rib cage is a great way to begin this. Now, I don't recommend you doing this when you perform, okay? Don't do it. I've seen people do it, and it always looks really silly. However, when you're first learning the breathing, put your hands on your rib cage, because what we're trying to learn is how to manage that breath. And how to inhale and exhale. Now, a lot of people talk about the diaphragm and using the diaphragm, and the only thing they talk about is taking that big, deep breath. And that's really important. That's how we activate the diaphragm. That's how we get it to go down. But the real control in singing is not that. The real control of singing is how we slowly taper off the breath. Because remember I showed you, we're going to take a big breath. And what if I hold it? My ribs are really strong. But when I let it go, my ribs collapse. Boom, my breath is gone. And when we sing, we don't want our breath to be gone. We want to taper it out slowly. So what we need to learn to cultivate is that feeling of holding our breath in our rib cage.
I want to do it.
Tapering it out slowly. Or actually using a bunch of breath and pushing it out forcefully. Like that. What we're doing now, instead of breathing in, contracting our diaphragm, breathing out, letting go of the diaphragm. Meanwhile, the abs are blowing the air out. Our diaphragm is not going to just let go and let the abs push out the air. The diaphragm is going to push down, stay down. The way we do that is by being aware of this feeling in our rib cage and resisting the air. It's kind of like a dam. How we use people use dams to generate power. They hold back water, let a little bit out, and by holding back the water, they generate power. So when we hold back our breath by using our diaphragm and keeping it down, meanwhile we're breathing out, we're generating power. And generating that power is how we do all the fancy things that singers do, like high notes and hold long notes and lots of power and strength. That comes from getting in touch with the power. Okay, so we're going to have...
Yeah, interesting. This is still one of my most popular videos of all time. And it's all in the whole section of my popular reaction videos, but this still is one of my most popular videos. And yeah, there's an ad right in the middle of it. I'm trying to cut it out, but let's keep going.
This diaphragm is going to go down. Take a big inhale. Gonna hold it. Now instead of breathing it out, I'm going to taper it out. I'm going to use an S sound. I could use other similar kinds of sounds. You could use a Z. If you notice, as we make that sound, you're going to feel really strong in your rib cage. Another place to feel is right here. The solar plexus, where it's squishy, below the rib cage. You're going to feel strong. That strong feeling is what I use to sing. That's how I get those high notes. But your body has to remember how to use this. Now, here's the ironic thing. People think, oh, I need to learn how to sing from the diaphragm. Okay, we don't have a mouth here. We don't sing from the diaphragm, but we learn to control the air. Now, here's the other thing. Your body already knows how to do this. This is not a new thing. You don't have to learn how to play the piano, blow a horn. Your body does this all the time. You're just not aware of it.
Yes, that is a huge thing because, a lot of people don't even know what the diaphragm looks like. When I teach my students, my very first day, I show them pictures of the diaphragm and how it works in their body as best as I can from a 2D picture, because a lot of people are still confused about that and they don't quite understand it. And the term diaphragm is like, isn't that like birth control or something? But it's kind of a little confusing topic, but it is so, so important.
All the time. You're just not aware of it and consciously using it. Let me show you. When you cough, you're going to feel that same pulsing, pushing feeling in the rib cage. Ha ha ha. Laugh, laugh, laugh. Okay, we're also going to feel that same pushing in the rib cage. So what we want to do is become aware of that feeling. How does it feel to, first of all, inhale.
Fake laugh.
Firm and strong. Exhale. Feel the collapse. What we want is no collapsing. We want to hold it strong. So we're going to do alternate with, now, strong ribs. And then you can go ya, ha, ha, ha. Concentrate on the feeling. Then the next thing we work on is singing it. Ya, ha, ha, ha. strong feeling in the ribs. We're trying to learn to feel that pulse or that inner fist in the rib cage, which again is resisting the air. It's creating more air pressure. And it's the air.
I actually still teach my students this very thing on the very first lesson. Yeah, so far so good. I mean, it's kind of long, but I think it teaches you exactly what's going on. And yeah, this was quite a long time ago, but it's fun to revisit because I share this with all my students every time a new student comes in my studio, whether they're a beginner or even if they went to fancy grad schools, and even if they're performing opera or touring, I always give this lesson to them.
Feel the collapse. What we want is no collapsing. We want to hold it strong. So we're going to do alternate with now strong ribs, and then you can go ya, ha, ha.
That is key. That is a huge key concept. We don't sing with our air flowing through. We're feeling this resistance and allowing the pressure. The air pressure is what fuels the vocal cords to do all the fancy high hard stuff.
Ha, ha. Concentrate on the feeling. Then the next thing we work on is singing it. Ya, ha, ha, ha. Strong feeling in the ribs. We're trying to learn to feel that pulse or that inner fist in the rib cage, which again is resisting the air. It's creating more air pressure.
My phone
and it's
goes
the
off.
air pressure that helps us sing, not the breath, the pressure. We want to control the pressure. One more thing about that, different vocal styles require more of that breath energy. Some vocal styles are really relaxed and chill, some jazz. Nora Jones, someone breathy, come away with me into the night. Okay, that's a really breathy sound. We don't quite need that. A real breathy sound is just not going to require as much breath energy. Anytime the chords have breath, doesn't require a lot of breath energy. In fact, sometimes breathiness happens when there's not enough breath energy behind the chords, especially on people's high notes. They get not enough breath versus breath energy helps the chords also function in a better way. So the breath energy is really important. Again, some vocal styles don't require a lot of breath energy. Singing a lullaby, you don't need to work as hard. You're not projecting that voice. Where other vocal styles like opera and especially hard rock, those styles are high compression, lots of energy. If you don't have the breathing down, you probably won't be able to sing those vocal styles because they require you have them breathing all together. But that said, even other types of singers, once you learn that breath, then you know how to access those high notes, how to power them. When you can power them from the breath, then you don't have to resort to other habits like
Still do.
Or hopefully you don't do that. But I have seen many straining and pushing and pulling up here because it's not where it needs to be. Really good singers make it look easy because their breath is under the control and they're strong in the rib cage and are feeling that strength. So practice those hisses. That's what I make all my students do. Practice with the short ones, pulsing, and the long. Get used to how that feels. Watch more videos about breathing. Take a look at the other videos that I favorited in my vocal technique page. They will show you some 3D ideas and other people talking about how the breath works. It's very important that you learn this. I will probably talk about it again. But anyway, good luck.
All right. That was really fun to watch all the way through. I made that video. It's probably one of my earliest videos, maybe the 5th video I made, because I believed in it so much. And I've had so many master teachers that helped me develop that technique. And I just wanted to share it with the world. And I've gotten so many comments, probably hundreds of comments, not only from singers, but horn players, trumpet players, trombone players, brass players, clarinetists, because really learning to use the breath that way also fuels the instruments, which is all about airflow. Because with singing, we're bringing our air to go through our vocal cords. But for those instruments, whether it's a reed, you're going to vibrate the reed. And for the brass, they're using their lips. That's their vibration. The lips are part of that airflow as well. So yeah, I've really been happy for so long because that video basically made my career on YouTube. And like I've told this story before, I never expected to be a YouTuber. I only wanted to make videos so I could put it on my website because that was my whole intention. I moved to Seattle. I'd already been teaching for a long time, and I really wanted to make a website, a new website, and actually have videos on my website so people could get to know me, get to know my personality, and I actually put that on my website. I don't know if it's on there anymore, but that is how it started. And what happened after that is I had a Bulgarian English coach, seriously, track me all over social media to get me to teach her a lesson. And she was back in the Skype days. That's what we did, is Skype. And I wasn't sure. I'm like, I don't know if I want to like teach an online lesson. I don't know if it's going to work. But I consented, and she took a month of lessons. And I think she realized singing really wasn't her thing, but it broke the ice for me. And after that happened, I started getting clients from all over the world, except I say Antarctica, because I've worked with people in Korea, and Europe, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Australia, South America, Mexico, Canadians, yeah, so many clients. And so when COVID happened, I was like, I'm already done. I get this. I had been teaching online, so it was just like, I've been already doing online teaching. So it is different, but the only thing I can't do is accompany my students very well because the internet doesn't quite have that capability where I could actually play with them. So that's the only thing. But as far as what I said about the diaphragm, I can't really say that I can improve upon that. That was a great tutorial. Now, the funny thing is that my phone rang. You could hear it. I was on I was kind of, it was like silence, but it was buzzing. And then I had to stop the video and redo it. I know, that was pretty silly. But hey, I was just getting started with making videos. And so far it was pretty good, I think. And the other thing I kept watching is as I was doing the tutorial with my hands, I was standing up there. I was seeing my wedding ring all the time. You know, my wedding ring is like had that shiny diamond. And yeah, that was kind of bittersweet because as you guys know, my husband passed away in 2021 December, and actually my wedding ring I had to resize, so I haven't been wearing it since the time that I removed it to resize it, and yeah, I'm probably not going to wear it again. So yeah, because life goes on, and that's what's going on. Life is going on, but I might do something else with the diamond or something like that. So yeah, I still can stand by that video, even though it was kind of low def, but it still showed the story about how we use the breath, because that's just how it is, you know. And because of my body build, a lot of singers have really big barrel chests, and they have this like lots of lung power, kind of like an eight-cylinder car versus a 4-cylinder. Well, I'm definitely a 4-cylinder car because I have kind of a narrow rib cage. So I had to learn how to manage my breath and how to use that. And I've been blessed with many master teachers. I think I have good teacher karma because I've had way more than my share of master teachers to help me. And I don't know, I just attract great teachers, and I'm really grateful for that. But here it is. I teach, and I get what I get from those teachers, and I share it with you guys. And so it's just fun. Hopefully this video gets a little more traction. I don't know how much it's getting every time, but I think it's still showing up. And then I'm going to probably change the thumbnail because that's a little strategy to actually kind of kickstart it getting to be more found in the Google search. But yeah, and actually I had to go to Google search to find it. And so yeah, that's it. So thanks for coming along with me. It's kind of fun because this is the video that launched my YouTube career, if you want to call it that. Never expected to be a YouTuber, never expected to have a worldwide following. And then after that, I started doing reaction videos, and I love it. I love it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming along with me in this video. I know this video is going to be a little bit long, but it was fun, right? And I just also want to let you know that I am still taking students, so you can contact me at Valerie@vocalsplendor.com or vocalsplendor, all one word, @gmail if you want to schedule some lessons. And of course, I have my free passion projects on YouTube. I have my free passion projects on Facebook. First one is called YouTube Success Strategies, and that's where I'm coaching people on how to be successful on YouTube. And the other one is Creative Soul Alignment for people that are creative and spiritual. And hey, we all are creative and spiritual, just saying. And I'd love to see you there, and you can find all the information below in the description. All right, take care. Bye.